At all about getting any playing time because he knew that he was joining the team very late in the season, but he was very gifted and he opened up our eyes during the course of the season, and we were trying to get him into the last game, and the situation didn't quite come up and we didn't get him in, and I know he was a little disappointed, but he was a pleasure to have, even though we only had him for 3 weeks. The new guy, Steve Squires, come on up here. Because of a certain player that had a starting position wasn't with us for a couple of games, and he stepped in there and did a great job, and he always worked hard during practice, and he's a great kid, and hopefully he's in the weight room right now beefing up and getting ready for next year. And I know the JV coaches are going to love this kid, Josh Curtis. He wanted to, I'm not going to say quit, but he had thoughts about it, and played receiver for us and defensive back, and did a great job. And he's very fast and skinny, and hopefully he's beefing up in the weight room. He's a great kid. That's Adam Vargas. Practices when we'd scrimmage all the time, and that contributes to the success of a team, and this was a very successful team this year, and it's great to have players like this. And once again with the weight room, and he asked me on the first day was, Coach, can you get hurt in this sport? And I said, absolutely not. He did a great job, and it was fun to have him out there, and he gave it everything he had. That's Ben Lang. To this program, and this is Anthony Brasati. This next punishing our offense, gentlemen that are here tonight, I'd like to introduce the gentleman who coordinated our offense and was very vocal on the sidelines when needed. And he's a great guy and an excellent coach, gets along good with with all the players, and he's going to introduce some of the players here and hand out awards, and this is Kevin Kirby.
Thank you. First of all, I have a few things to say. I don't want to make this sound like it's the Academy Awards or anything, but I want to thank Coach Russ for his patience, because, as he said, I tend to get a little excited on the sidelines. And I don't think I got any penalties this year, though, so that was a good sign. I'd like to thank Coach Dale for coming out. This year, Bill was able to spend a lot more time this year, and I think it showed. Having him out there really helped on the line. Last year he was real busy with his business. This year he came out, did a real good job. Joe Callan, I really appreciate him coming out. It was a great learning experience for me to have him on board, because he's got a wealth of coaching knowledge. I'm just a neophyte, and I learned a lot this year. I really appreciate it. Young Dan McGarry, was out and helped us out on the line. It was good to see somebody coming back who graduated from Marin Catholic and giving back to the program. That was great. It's really an interesting team this year. I think you can see that there's a great chemistry between these kids. I know Coach Nelson, who coaches the JVs, and Coach Nevin are going to be really looking forward to seeing these kids develop next year. It's a great group of kids. I have to tell you, I'm lucky the JV coaches asked me to hang around and help out with the offense on the weekend, so I get to see these kids next year and how they develop, and it's a pleasure. And you're going to see some big things from this team. The program had a lot of success this year, and you're going to see a lot of success from this group right here, I can guarantee it. That said, let's get right to the players. First off the bat is one of the crowd favorites with the fellas. It was his first year playing. He went through a transition period in coming to Marin Catholic like all freshmen do. It's not just about playing football, it's about studies, it's about acclimating yourselves to the Marin Catholic program. And he went through an adjustment, there's no question about it. And as Coach Russ said, there's a tremendous number. I had a few stories about Ben, but he paid me $20 not to tell him. Next young gentleman, I believe this was his first year of playing football as well. Listening to some of the talks after some of our games, or listening to some defensive run-throughs and stuff like that, because this group likes to have fun. And there were more than a few occasions where I had to put my hand over my mouth because these kids look like they're having a good time, and there's a lot of talking going on, and it's a real good camaraderie. It's a real good feeling. This young man exemplified that. At the same time, there wasn't anybody who worked as hard as he did in practice. We really missed him when he had a few other engagements he had to get to. We appreciated him coming back. He plays a number of different positions, and this is another kid that everything I said about David, this is another young man who's going to be in the same boat, and that's Zeb Zankel. Double Zane. First year of playing football, he was named a captain. It was unanimous all the way around that he was one of the kids that the other kids look up to, both figuratively and literally. He's going to have a great future here. He's got a good pedigree. He had a great season. Sometimes his worst enemy was he was too hard on himself. I mean, he improved every single week. He improved every single game. And this is another young gentleman that you're going to be hearing about. I know Coach Nelson's got some plans for him already. That's Dan Crowley. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, he's a great young kid, great hard worker, probably some of the best instincts on the football field that I saw when I was out there this year. He's played before, so he had a little bit in him. He comes from a great football family, including two players that I played with when I was in high school. I really can't say enough about this young gentleman. I enjoyed coaching him a lot. It was a real pleasure. He did the job whenever we asked him to, sometimes getting outweighed on the offensive line, sometimes getting 2 and 3 guys coming at him when he was playing linebacker. On top of that, I think that the kids looked up to him in a leadership role. I think that he kept everybody loose in the clubhouse, as they say. And it's those sorts of things that create the chemistry that makes champions. And when you're talking about a freshman football season that's very developmental, that's a stepping stone for the rest of the program here, which is a great program. It's this type of kid that you look to and you point to, and you just feel very, very fortunate that he is at the school, and you feel very, very fortunate that other young men are going to get the opportunity to play with him. The winner of the St. Sebastian Award, which I think has been around since 1200 AD, is A.J. Ratto. Year, we're in every game. I think, you know, this was the first step. And when you look back on this, when you're standing on the field of the NCS championships, 2 years from now and 3 years from now, you're going to know that this was the first positive step towards that goal. Congratulations.
The success of this team, especially offensively this year, was due in large part to him, because he's a great offensive line coach. And I felt that all season long, I never saw an instance in a game where offensively we were stopped by the opposing team. We usually stopped ourselves most of the time, but I was very confident in our ability to put the ball in the end zone, and the offensive line can thank this gentleman, and he's going to introduce his favorite players. And that's Bill Dale.
It's a badge of honor. Thanks, Russ, for allowing me to do this again this year. I really like coaching at this school. I think we're real lucky to be here, all of us, including the kids, and the parents are just wonderful, and you raise such wonderful boys. It's just a pleasure to coach them. They're no trouble. There's no attitude problems. This group especially has got the essence of football, which I think is sacrificed down. They hang together. They take part in each other's sorrows and joys. And when you can support each other like that, it's just nothing but great things can happen as a football team. They know what being a team is. And the best thing about coaching here is to watch this team develop as a team. And the moment it happens, sometimes it's usually under duress. And whether, like 4 years ago when we just pulled a game out in the last second, I think this year, this group that comes from all over the county, some from outside the county, some of them don't know each other. Somehow they have to become a team. It was at the Redwood game in that final second when it looked like Redwood was going to score the extra point on a run. And we stopped them and won the game. And as everybody came off that field, and you could feel the emotion of all the team on the sidelines and the guys coming off. We'd won the game. We knew it. And it was just such a great, almost like steam coming out of everybody. We were so happy. And at that particular moment, we became a football team. And we never stopped being a football team. Congratulations, guys. My first player here, also have your picture. This guy, second on balloting for all the other awards, or third or something. So he was on every ballot, and he was probably our most impact kind of.
That he gained in San Francisco as a coach at Washington, as an assistant, as a head coach as well. We all learned a lot from him. He's probably got a lot more football knowledge than all three of us, Coach Kirby, myself, and Coach Dale. This guy was a great man to learn from, and I know the kids loved him and learned a lot from him. And he's going to introduce a few players. That's Joe Callan.
Thank you very much, Russ. Really, the thanks should go out to Russ. I coached for a long time at Washington. This year was going to be the year I was just going to be a fan in the stands. My wife bought me one of those seats where you sit in the stands that has a backing and everything. I was just going to sit there and watch. And I found I came to a couple of practices and I just couldn't stand it anymore. I still had a lot of energy. So I kind of begged Russ, let me come out for and help you a little bit if you need help, and he was nice enough to let me come out, and it was one of the greatest years of my coaching. I really enjoyed it, especially like working with all the coaches. One of the great things about coaches is the guys you work with, the kids and the guys. This couldn't have been a better year. Everybody got along, and I would just like to tell you, your son, or our sons, are in good hands here. Not only was good football taught, but the right things were taught about how to practice, how to get along with your fellow teammates, and how not to trash talk, a lot of the things that go on in football in some of the programs. So I think it's a wonderful program, and I feel real lucky to have my son here and be able to coach here this year. I said this at the end of the year to the kids. I just like to reiterate, a lot of kids when they're freshmen don't show really what they can do. So a lot of you who didn't play, maybe weren't stars or starters, hang in there. A lot of you have a lot of ability. If you work in the off season and stay with it and have that desire and love for football, a lot of you can be great players. Parents, I would really encourage you to keep your kids going out. I know there's some kids I heard say they may not want to go out next year. Don't let them do that. Football is a great experience for them. You don't get any other experience in high school that's better than football, and a lot of them are going to be stars that weren't this year, so please encourage them, and you guys keep going out. Okay, the first guy is one of these guys who I just kind of talked about. This guy, when he got a chance, did great. He got in against SI and started at running back in that first half. Had a couple great runs. He's got good speed and stuff. He got hurt a couple times. He missed some practices, and he kind of fell between the cracks, and we didn't play him a lot. But I think this guy could be a starter next year and in the future. Brian Kelly. This next gentleman, I had the pleasure of coaching last year. They let me coach on Pop Warner last year, too, so I coached Pop Warner. But he's either going to be a lawyer or he's going to be a coach. I think Coach Dale made this rule up that he likes to talk a lot and give suggestions a lot. So in order to appease him a little bit and try to keep his sanity, Coach Dale only let him speak one day a week. But when he did speak, he had good things to say. I sat with him at the Redwood, when we watched Redwood and I guess it was Novato play, just before we were going to play Novato. And he was like a coach up there. He was pointing out all the formations, what this guy is doing, what that guy is doing. He has great football knowledge. His dad was a coach. I'm sure he learned a lot from him. But he is a great player. I think somebody mentioned that Redwood game where we stopped, Coach Dale mentioned the Redwood game where we stopped him on the last play there for the extra point. They made the mistake of running right at Matt Wagner, and he's one of the 2 or 3 guys that stopped him. Matt Wagner. Fell and never won a football game. That's real sad to go through 2 or 3 years and never winning. And luckily he came to a school where they know how to win, and we won a lot of games this year, and he was a big part of why we won those games. This guy can play fullback, linebacker, running back. He played defensive end, he played defensive line. He's a great player, and he's going to be one of the stars next year and in the future. The only trouble I had with him is pronouncing his name. I hope I can pronounce it right. But Nick Disamonthan, we called him Dizzy for sure. I talked about a lot of the kids who didn't have a lot of ability this year, and we'll get it in the future. This guy had pretty good ability this year, but he's going to have fantastic ability. He's probably the strongest kid on the team. He's got great leg strength. He's an emotional player. He plays with a lot of pride. He needs to work on his technique a little bit. When he does that, he's going to be a fantastic player because he has got great ability, and his name is Justin Johnson. This next young man never played football before. I knew he played basketball because I used to watch him play against my son in the CYO for the last couple of years, but I never expected him to be this good at football, and he really picked up the game fast and was a great part of our offense and defense. Probably became the hardest hitter on the team. This guy is definitely all league and all WCL in the future. A great athlete and a great kid to coach, Greg Benson. because he played against my son every year in those two sports for the last 4 or 5 years. And this is a guy who in the future will not come off the field. I think he's one of our best players and going to be one of the best players at Marin Catholic. He's very strong, he's very fast, he's smart, he's a great kid, he's a pleasure to coach. And as I say, he could play anywhere, defense, offense, wherever. And if I was coaching him next year, he wouldn't come off the field. He's going to be a great player. And he also won a special award tonight, which the coaches voted for, was the most improved player, and it's Craig DiMartini. Thank you very much.
Well, there's a couple of gentlemen left, and I'm sure the freshman team knows who they are, and they're well, I'll talk about one of them first, but they're both receiving very special awards. They're equal in value in my mind, and this award is our most inspirational award, and this was an experienced football player who comes from a tremendous family that's contributed over the years here, and here's the last one that's going to contribute mightily to the program and any other athletic team that he's on. He's one of the favorites on the team. He's one of the hardest hitters on the team. He made some of the greatest plays this year that really lit a fire under this team. And he's our most inspirational player. He's a great kid. Chris Morales. Before I introduce the final gentleman on the team, I just want to say that this was a great season. I've had successive years of winning championships, and it comes to an end sometimes, but as you move on to the JV program and to the varsity program, you are definitely going to win championships and continue the great Marin Catholic tradition. We came up a little bit short this year against a great football team up in Novato, but I thought you played them fantastic. And don't sell yourself short that it wasn't a good season because you didn't win the championship. Because you're champions in my mind, you're champions in my heart, and you're one of the best bunch of kids I've coached since I've been here, and mainly because you were very unselfish, and that's probably the greatest quality that a group of kids can have to contribute to a football program, being unselfish and doing what's best, for the team. This final gentleman is our most valuable player, and he took on a very unselfish role this year because, we put him in a position that we needed to put him in simply because we didn't quite have the experienced players, to handle the quarterbacking duties. And everybody seems to think, most coaches seem to think that his future is as a running back. I know the varsity's talking about taking him up next year, maybe using him as a wide receiver, but don't worry, Coach Nelson, I'll keep him down for you somehow if that's the best thing for him. Although he definitely has varsity capability, and defensively he was he was there all the time for us. He made a couple of plays during the course of the season that won us football games on defense, but offense is where he was just flat out great. And most people ask you about who's that number 7, and that's what I heard a lot after the games, and that's what I heard from my dad when he saw us play. And that's what I heard from all the kids at Drake, because I live in that area. They go, "Man, that number 7's good." Well, that number 7 is our most valuable player, and he's one of the greatest players that I've ever coached. Number 7, Adam Callan. Well, the coaches are done talking, and now the real fun begins, because I'm sure some of the kids want to say something.
Cool weeks. Great improvement to our team. Helped out a lot. What can I say other than he's Coach McGarry, and I think he deserves a big round of applause. He took a lot of time and effort to come out after college and coach us, and it was very nice of him. Thanks.
Well, this coach, he's new. And he helped the team out a lot with the running backs and the linebackers, so I got to work with him. And I thought, I've never played before, so he really helped me out, and I think he was a really big contribution to the team, Coach Callan.
The next coach was the offensive line and defensive line coach, and I played for a long time, and I've never had a better coach, because I played lineman most of my career. Years playing, and I've just never had a better coach. He knows a lot about the game. Always taught me a lot, and I'm sure he's taught every single person on the team, even if they weren't a lineman or if whatever position they were. And that's Coach Dale.
Coach, we can always hear you from the sidelines. During the varsity games, we can hear you in the stands. It's not a bad thing, it's good. But this was a lot of our first years playing, and I think you helped us out a lot. So most of us didn't know what we were doing the first day of practice. And, thanks a lot for being there. Helped me as quarterback the first couple days of practice. And if I stuck with that, I know I had great fun with you. But then I became a receiver too, helped out with that too. Coach Kirby, thanks a lot.
This coach is our head coach, and he's a great coach, and he helped a lot of the receivers, which was most of our team, and our defensive backs, and he just helped our whole team all around, and I would like to thank Russ Kanucci.
still have a few pieces of pie and some cookies left. Grab them on your way out. Thanks a lot for coming here. It was a great season.